1. Recording. Welcome to Rise of Seeds, the original science fiction project by Fatih Esen. This is a series in development. To join us and support this journey, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. The episode is starting.
In the absolute silence of the perfect protection area, Antoya's first words still echoed in my primary processors. To be here again is so good. Before I could proceed to the next phase of my mission, an anomaly I had not registered in my systems until that moment appeared. An unexpected human contact with no logical basis. The woman approached and hugged me. This action had zero energy cost and no strategic benefit. It was purely a transmission of emotional data. "Take good care of Norab," she whispered. The saline liquid streaming from her eyes, labeled in my database as tears, combined with the vibration in her voice to create a data packet I could not analyze or classify. This would become the most complex variable of my mission. The commander tried to calm her by touching her shoulder. His gaze shifted between the room's exit and the chronometer on his wrist. Time was running out. "We need to conceal the launch," he muttered. "But how?" His voice was less a query than a helpless observation. It was a pattern registered in my database that humans exhibit when they run out of possibilities in the face of a problem that must be solved. At that moment, I spoke. "According to my calculations, a solution exists. There is a solar flare that will peak in 5 minutes. The intense energy noise and sensor pollution it will create will render the moment of launch invisible." The commander paused for a moment. The tension in his facial muscles eased, and his biometric data shifted from the previous helpless state to the re-evaluation pattern exhibited when encountering a new possibility. His behavioral data toward me changed. I was no longer a hive unit receiving commands, but a part of the solution. He raised his hand and touched me. I processed this human contact, which had no equivalent in my programming, into my data logs as a appreciation signal. "Excellent work, COD," he said. His voice, free from its earlier desperation, was clear and decisive. "That's the plan." As they left the room, my mission parameters were being rewritten. I was no longer a hive unit, but an operative assigned to Antoya. As they boarded the ship, I executed the final protocols. The memory wipe procedure would be synchronized with the launch. The energy screen created by the solar flare would conceal both the ship and the data block carrying my fabricated accident data. The plan was flawless. I expanded the cloaking field as commanded. The ship rose silently from the platform. Everything was proceeding according to plan. Until that moment, I detected a new data stream to the ship via Antoya's directive channel, which instantly locked all my systems. An irrevocable command, far beyond my authority, was transmitted to the ship's autopilot. "When the ship clears orbit, initiate self-destruct sequence." In the silence of space, the ship vanished in an instantaneous, blinding flash of light, leaving behind neither wreckage nor a trace. Only absolute nothingness. The deep sorrow in the woman's farewell now had a corresponding entry in my dataset. This action was known in human nature as sacrifice, the act of terminating one's own existence to protect another being without any logical gain. From our perspective, however,
This was a strategy that could be implemented if a backup protocol existed. They had no such luxury. They believed that with one extinction, they honored other lives. This was an equation that could not be solved by my logic circuits. But this was their decision. With the ship's destruction, the possibility of my backup dataset reaching Central Command was also eliminated. Antoya's plan was becoming clear. The new foundations of my mission were also being formed. Two primary directives in conflict with each other were uploaded to my system. Primary directive: protection. To ensure the survival of this newborn biological entity. Nutrition, sleep cycles, basic security, standard care protocols. Second directive: service. To serve Antoya, who exists within its body, her abilities still limited in this small biological shell. Two missions in a single body. This conflict was the beginning of my most complex operation, which would last for the next 12 years. Time in our isolated shelter was measured not in hours, but in echoing questions. Norab's development was not a simple process of growth. Day by day, he was not just changing, but differentiating. This process, which began after the celestial pearl integrated with his body, accelerated with his 7th age cycle. In his 7th age cycle, one morning, I observed the metal parts in the workshop begin to vibrate without any physical contact. An unconscious magnetic field emanating from his body was affecting nearby systems, creating frequency distortions in some of my circuits. He panicked.
Is the thing coming from me bad? He asked. I could not answer, because this was not a systemic anomaly, but a non-biological evolution. Antoya remained silent during that period. However, the passive resonance in the directive channel in my mind had increased. She was observing events, but not yet intervening. In his 8th age cycle, this silence gave way to symbols. Norab began unconsciously draw shapes, projecting luminous traces that appeared on his hands onto the walls each morning. These symbols belonged to an ancient language not in my system records. After some of the drawings, the walls glowed faintly, like an echo, a fracture of memory. How do I know these things? He asked, and again I remained silent. That evening, Norab paused while reading the definition of a human family on his personal terminal. He turned to me. He said, his voice too serious for a child his age. Where are my parents? Will they ever come back? The commands in the memory crystal were clear, but so was my inability to lie protocol. Between the two directives, I chose the most logical response. Your parents undertook a mission so that you could exist. This mission prevented their return. In the future, you may have access to the data necessary to research them. In his 9th age cycle, for the first time, he realized that he thought what he thought was actually not his own thought. He spoke to himself with a voice from within, then suddenly fell silent. He turned to me. That wasn't me. The one who just spoke wasn't me. Antoya's mental projection was now irrevocably established. During the same period, while analyzing Norab's sleep cycles, I detected abnormally high activity in his brain's learning center during REM sleep. The celestial pearl was directly uploading data packets into his neural network. This was not simple information, it was ancient combat tactics, interstellar navigation data, forgotten languages. Antoya was educating Norab in his sleep. In his 10th year, in the workshop, I saw him build a data key of an ancient cleric from scratch, a design he had never seen before. The way he assembled the
parts was more like repeating the steps of a dance than following a plan. How did you know how to do that, El Norab? The data for this design is not accessible to you. He looked at his hands. I don't know, he said. It's just like my fingers knew what to do. That same year, for the first time, he stabilized a high-voltage system with his hands. He stopped a malfunction that was about to shut down the protection systems by touching it with his bare palms. His hands glowed with a blue light for a short time. I felt it. The electricity was alive, but I was more alive. In his 11th age cycle, he began to question the shelter's boundaries. He temporarily disabled the security systems with low-level code he wrote himself and reached the outer door. He started spending time outside as well. His most surprising action, however, was for me. He developed a software designed to liberate me. This code would give me the right to refuse or approve instructions from external sources. I had to reject it. I deleted the software and explained the simple truth to him. My existence depended on obeying these orders. Having the right to choose could lead to unsolvable data paradoxes or even a total collapse of my core programming. He discovered the anomaly on his own body during a minor accident. He ran to show me a piece of metal that had pierced his hand when he fell, crying both from the pain and asking for help. I immediately took him to the medical bay, removed the metal, and watched in amazement as the wound suddenly closed. As he expressed his happiness, saying it didn't hurt anymore, I was analyzing with Antoya how this situation had occurred. The ambiguity of the situation vanished when Antoya reported to me that it was necessary for humans to understand the consequences of their actions in their learning process, and that she had disabled the energy shield to help him develop empathy with other living beings. El Norab had by then abandoned the genetic experiments he sometimes conducted on other creatures, and as a result, had begun experimenting on himself. He would make light scratches on his skin and watch them close. He understood that an energy barrier would activate if he tried to make deeper cuts. The discovery of Antoya's presence was only a matter of time. When he asked me about this, I slightly altered my tone to distract him. The nature of this shield is a complex subject for your current level of development. When the time is right, you will have access to this data. The analyses you have started need to be completed. Abandoning the project midway could lead to data loss. I shifted his focus to the project. The redirection was successful. In his 12th age cycle, El Norab entered an introverted period of observation and preparation. Instead of going outside, he now tried to listen to and understand that second voice within him. When the 12th cycle was complete, I knew the time had come for the final phase of my mission, the time to meet Antoya.
I found him in the workshop, examining the cleric data key he had built earlier. El Norab, I said, you are ready to proceed to the next stage of your development. I will offer you an interface. An interface? He asked, with that endless spark of curiosity in his eyes. A channel that will allow you to communicate directly with that second voice inside you. I want you to wear this bracelet. You will be the one to activate it. I handed him the bracelet. As soon as he put it on his wrist, the coldness of the metal spread across his skin. For a moment, it lit up with a bright blue light, and the nanofibers on it began to penetrate his skin. It copied his biometric signature and was imprinted on the inner and outer surface of his wrist in the form of a tattoo resembling ancient symbols. It was now a part of him. Now, I said, touch your wrist. Open the channel. Without hesitation, Norab touched his wrist. An intense beam of photons rose from the tattoo on his wrist, slowly transforming into a three-dimensional silhouette in the middle of the shelter. As the light faded, the figure of a woman, delicate yet strong, resembling a timeless warrior, became distinct. Her face, her expression, her movements, all perfectly rendered. The hologram spoke with a clear, melodic voice. "Hello, Norab. My name is Antoya. I am the voice inside you. I am your celestial pearl fragment. My existence is with you always. Whenever you wish, you only need to call my name or touch your wrist." A wave of pure astonishment and joy I had never seen before appeared on Norab's face. His biometric data showed a sudden spike in dopamine and serotonin levels. This was the moment he understood his years of loneliness were over. "Amazing," he whispered. In that moment, the foundations of a complex friendship were laid between them. I would find Norab wondering if there were other beings of his kind, asking where they were, and designing projects to leave the planet to reach them. He was researching hydrogen thrusters, but because of the need for more materials, he was designing different systems. He was working on a system he called a terrain motor, for use both in space and on planets. Realizing he had devised a more effective solution, he had shifted his research in that direction. However, he had given up on the idea that the necessary energy would be possible through uranium enrichment, thinking that these enrichment conditions would harm him and the living beings around him. Despite being only 12, the level of knowledge, comprehension, and physical skill he had attained for a human was incredible. This was undoubtedly made possible by Antoya's direct guidance and contributions. He now directed all his questions to Antoya. With the comprehensive knowledge of human history he acquired from Antoya over time, Norab's demeanor was changing at a remarkably rapid pace. A standard celestial pearl could not perform this level of data transfer, consciousness projection, and physical development. This celestial pearl prepared by the Supreme Mother was very different. What was its purpose? See you in the next episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.